Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bright Connections. We are back. It's officially 2022. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday break, a very happy and healthy New Year, and we are back. We are eager to get started again with new episodes of Bright Connections. Just bringing you all the positive stories, all the positive vibes that we can possibly do, starting in 2022. And joining me this week is one of my good friends from college, Nate. Nate and I went to Pitt together, and we were in the same fraternity, and it was just a blast. And I know it's been a while since Nate and I have talked and really done anything together, as sometimes happens with college friends and just adults in general. But it's really good to hear, and Nate would be willing to join me this week, so I'm excited to catch up with him. And then we're gonna talk on some football. We're gonna talk on some predictions, some what do we think is going to happen in the playoffs, maybe a little off-season talk as well. But Nate's a big football guy as well, so I'm excited to see what he's got in his head thinking about with football and everything. So Nate, thank you for joining me. How you doing, man?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's the first time I've ever done it. So, I apologize to your listeners if I say anything,
Nah.
I am a Ravens fan, so hopefully you don't have too many Pittsburgh fans on your end, but
Yeah.
I'll try and keep it you know, family oriented here. But
Yeah, definitely rivalry
so,
between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, but it's a respected rivalry, I would think.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's gonna be good to hear from another side. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm back in Harrisburg now. After living in Pittsburgh for a year. Actually, long story short, I actually got in a car accident over Thanksgiving, broke both my feet,
Oh.
and moved back home after that. But I guess, really like a lot of good came out of that because I really didn't like what I was doing. I was selling life insurance out in Pittsburgh. I think you knew that.
Yeah.
Life insurance is a lot of it's like negative talk.
Yeah.
And it's really not fun. The sales pitch I had to do, not great. But went and tried. I did marketing for a semi-professional baseball team, York
Mhm.
Revolution. That was a lot of fun, a lot of long hours though. But I ended up landing on my feet, and I'm doing financial work for Aetna, and I love it. So I guess really my message there is, if you ever get set back or you think you're not heading in the right direction, you just keep pushing forward
Yeah.
because like no matter how low you think it is, you can always get through it.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes just take the punches that are thrown at you sometimes, and you come out on the other side, and it all clicks, it all makes sense. After,
yeah,
like you said, you just taking a hit, getting in a car accident and having to move back home, and then everything just kind of took a nice switch, took a nice turn, and it's now for the better. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, that's an
yeah.
awesome message right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured
Wow.
I'd start out with that. I mean, you just like I just kept a positive attitude throughout it all, even though it was a long journey.
Yeah.
But you know, you keep that positive attitude, you can really do anything you want, and so
Absolutely. Absolutely. So since we've last hung out or talked really too much, um, any big life changes you wanna tell me about?
yeah. So I actually met my now wife at when I was working at the York Revolution. She was the graphic designer when I was doing marketing. So we actually ended up getting married in October.
Nice.
So it was really nice. It was an old cigar factory, so that's what kind of sold me on the venue.
Nice.
Up top, you could smoke cigars because they had what do they call that? The
Like the
air system
ventilation.
that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
pulls it out. Yeah. So it was really nice. It went really well. So it was
That's
nice. I mean,
exciting. Yeah, that's exciting
yeah,
for sure. Yeah, get
yeah,
married. I guess that's okay, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Finding your wife, at your job. That's pretty cool, I guess.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you and your wife.
thanks, man.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. I'm
I
excited
mean,
for you, and like you said, big things for you. And it's glad.
yeah,
I'm glad to see any and all my friends making moves, finding love. It's always heartwarming to me, whether or not I have the chance to reach out and talk to people. Um, it's always at least good to see stuff, on social media or whatever. I always love seeing good stories from people or exciting memories. Facebook, you see all these people, pictures of people getting engaged and everything. And
yeah,
even though I'm sitting here and I was like, okay, it kind of sucks because I'm still single. But at the same time, I'm like, how would I not be excited for you guys? How would I not be excited
right.
to see my friends doing well and finding love and getting married? It's just it's awesome to see. It really is.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. And I've been lucky enough actually, like this past couple 4 weeks, I've been catching up with people left and right actually. So I talked to Josh Beck and Thumper and Jo, and you know, it's been nice just to catch up. We did a
yes,
couple FaceTimes, so
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Even
Now I'm sitting here talking to you. So
yep, yep, yeah, yeah. Even though sometimes in our adult life it tends to go periods of time without talking to people. It always seems like when you have known somebody for a while that you can just pick up and reconnect with them pretty quickly and just think about all the memories you had in the past and all the stuff you guys went through together, and it's awesome to think
yeah,
back on, and it's awesome to see where each other is at now. So
right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So how's stuff been in your life, man? I mean, you're doing this, you're doing a Twitch stream, you're doing the podcast, you're doing a lot of stuff
I'm
out here,
doing,
man.
doing a lot. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm putting in a lot of work. But you know what? I absolutely love everything I'm doing right now. With the podcast, with the stream, it's a absolute joy. Yes, it does get tough. Yes, it does get tiring. But um, going into it each day, thinking about the people that I could possibly be connecting with, possibly be brightening their days and just making them smile and laugh. On the Twitch stream, just seeing people um, react with my goofiness or whatever I'm doing. Looking back on it, sometimes you end the stream and you're like, that wasn't quite as good as I expected it to be. But then so a lot of days I wake up the next morning and I'm like, you know what? Even if there was just a couple of people that I made a difference for, and I made them enjoy their evening hanging out with me, it's a plus, it's a win. So
Yeah.
yeah, so with that, I've got the podcast, I've got the stream. I'm still doing still coaching lacrosse. It's our off season right
Oh,
now, but
awesome.
we're probably getting ready to start up some indoor stuff pretty soon, so that'll be kicking into
Winning.
play as well.
You're gonna win some championships this year,
Oh yeah.
huh?
Nah, just some youth lacrosse. Nothing crazy, but it's that's another one of my joys. Just seeing um, the changes that I make in these kids' lives. Just um, bringing them joy, playing a sport, but also molding them into young gentlemen, if you will. Just
Yeah.
setting their life hopefully on the right direction and making them into good people is just that's one of the biggest things, one of the most humbling moments, just seeing a kid um, present himself with respect, toward others, or for himself, or just the way he goes
Yeah.
about thing on the field or off the field even too. Is just one of the most rewarding things for me. So
No,
that's doing
not
lacrosse
like,
is amazing.
yeah. Yeah. I know, like you mentioned, impacting like the youth and everything. And like this year, there's been an emphasis like in the NFL with that taunting rule.
Mm.
Have you like seen any difference with like your kids at all? Like they're less likely to react to something like in a negative way because of that? Or,
Um,
I'm just curious
no,
because
yeah, no, I got you. So yeah, there's always going to be, with kids, they're always going to be a little bit of ego with at least some of them. Yeah,
yeah,
you want to try to tame that, and my biggest thing, I mentioned it just a second ago, but my biggest thing that I always try to instill in my kids is respect, and whether
yeah,
that be respect for the coaches, respect for the refs during the games, respect for the other team, respect for yourself. um, that's really a big thing, and I really do push that. So if you got somebody that's going a little overboard and doing that taunting thing, yeah, I definitely do try to push that away and weed that out a little bit. And
yeah,
just have them, be humble. It's good to be confident. It's good to have a little bit of swagger, but at the same time, um, and it's good to celebrate a goal or a good play or something. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. But there's always that
yeah,
that next level where it becomes taunting or just something overboard that you want to kind of
yeah,
you want to say, hey, listen, it's good to be excited, it's good to be passionate, but it's never good to put somebody else down or lower somebody else's self-esteem or anything like that for your own
yeah,
benefit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I played a lot of baseball growing up, so I
Yeah.
had a bunch of coaches that instilled that's those same values, and I think it definitely carries over to life. It's not just sports. You're you know
Yeah.
teaching them how to act when their boss is like, "Hey, you didn't do this right, and I need you to do it this way." They're not going to overreact and
Right.
freak out on the boss or whatever. So
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's a great
yeah,
transition. There's so many things, um, from sports. Sports are just a huge impact and huge thing for me. And I'm glad that you said something like that, where there's so many things that you take from sports as a youth, and you can instill those later in life. Whether it be teamwork or whether it be composure or like you said, just knowing how to uh, take criticism and not overreact or not let it demoralize you. Take a hit, take a
yeah,
loss, and still get back up and keep going. That's such a huge thing, and there's so many values that you get from sports that you can use later on, and that's a great example there. Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. But yep. So yeah, other than that, everything's good here. Staying
That's
staying
awesome.
safe, staying safe as much as you can. With
Yeah.
with with obviously with COVID ramping up, it's everywhere right now. There's
Oh,
just
it is. Yeah.
everywhere you look, everywhere you listen, there's people getting it. There's just things. Luckily, we haven't really had any kind of shutdown type thing again. We haven't
Right.
haven't had to do that, but it's definitely it's running its course right now for sure.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. So
Yeah.
hopefully everyone's staying safe, doing what they can. Um, just it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time you
It's
think maybe it's
wild.
gonna it's gonna slow down or die down a little bit, nope, it comes back
Yeah.
with a vengeance.
Yeah. 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 I actually ended up having it in August, and I had the whole I guess they're calling it myocarditis, and I was hard to breathe, and like I didn't understand. I didn't felt like a sinus infection when I first got it. Had no idea.
Yeah.
Went and got the antibody test, ended up having it, and they were like, "Well, this is why you're short of breath." Um,
Thanks.
so like, yeah, it was really, and they were like, "Well, all we can do for you is, you're just gonna have to wait it out, and I hope it gets better." And I was like, "Okay, this doesn't sound like,
Yeah, that's
like there isn't anything I can do."
right. Jeez.
So,
That's crazy.
but yeah, yeah. So luckily, it all blew over in about a month, but
It took a month.
you get through it. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I have asthma, so I think that was
Okay.
part of it. So
Wow.
yeah.
But did it ever get really bad, or was it just that shortness of breath type thing? Just
No, it would be like weird. So I knew something was wrong, and I finally went to the doctor for it. But I've been working from home. We haven't gone back into the office yet since March of 2020.
wow.
Um, so I'd be working on my laptop at home, and all of a sudden I'd feel like short of breath, feel like I'm gonna pass out. I'm like, something's not right here. So
Am I
I was
that
like,
out of
better go
shape from
see a
sitting? Am I
doctor.
that out of shape from sitting at home?
Yeah, right. So uh yeah, went and saw them, and um heard some crazy stories along the way, man. There's uh my doctor told me that they had somebody come in and wanted to be tested because they were on the phone with their friend in Canada who had it. And I was like, oh my, like you know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
everybody's it's
it's a worry. You don't want to call
yeah,
it paranoid, but it's definitely it's on everybody's mind. It's something
yeah,
it's made its way into everybody's life one way or another. And it's just
right,
no way around it.
yeah.
But that's crazy, man. Did you have the loss of taste or smell or
Oh yeah,
anything
it
like
was
that? Yeah.
awful,
Oh,
awful. Taste, I couldn't taste anything. So
oh,
every time I ate, like that's why I feel like you have the loss of appetite with it, because you're like, well, this doesn't taste like anything. Why am I
yeah.
eating
Why?
this?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh man, I could. How long did it take for that to come back, or has it even come back
uh,
all the way?
it took a good like 4 or 5 weeks for the taste to come back. It was not fun.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't
So
imagine. I could not imagine that. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Whew. So you definitely got hit with some stuff in the last
Oh yeah,
couple of months, or over the year or whatever. But here you
yeah,
are, you're back and you're kicking and doing your thing. So
yeah,
like
yep,
we said
yep,
at the start, keep take your punches and keep rolling, keep going.
yeah, yeah. Nothing you can do about it. You just gotta keep moving.
You do. Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So
All right, let's dive on into to football. That's what we're here for. Let's talk some NFL football with the playoffs getting ready to start. So we're recording before any of the games have taken place. So we're gonna do our predictions. We're gonna talk about what we think is gonna happen, and come Monday we'll have a couple games down. When the episode comes out, we'll have a couple games down, and we'll see what our thoughts and how they come into play, and see if we're right at
yeah,
all or totally wrong. Because goodness, when
could
I
go
when
either
I
way.
when I do my predictions on these episodes, a lot of times I'm wrong. So
Yeah,
maybe I should predict some bad outcomes for what I want to actually happen, and it'll work in my favor.
yeah. Actually,
Oh,
that's what I do. So like, I go to the Ravens games, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna bet on the other team. So that way, if we lose, I'm a little upset that the Ravens lost, but I still want some money.
yeah. So that's a big thing. So with Nate's actually a big gambler. On I wouldn't say big, but Nate's a gambler. He likes to really dive into everything with matchups and each game, and kind of takes it in stride, and Nate, I've never been a gambler, especially in sports. I've never even considered it. So you want to tell me a little bit like what that's like, and what you do with this?
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of it, I do a lot against the spread. So for people that don't know what that is basically um, the favorite will have, let's say, okay, we'll take Cincy. They're minus 5.5 points against the Raiders today. So basically, what that means is Cincy has to beat the Raiders by 6 points. For if you want them to cover and you bet on the minus 5.5, they need to win by 6 points or more. So there's trends that you can look at. One of my favorite sites to go to is covers.com. They have everything and it's free, which is really nice because there's a lot of sites out there that you pay for, and sometimes they lead you in the wrong direction. You don't really know if their picks are correct, and it's just really hard to rely on that when you're not looking at the information yourself.
Okay.
And people are just throwing picks out there. You don't really know, like, hey, are they doing this to like help the sports books out, or so.
Or is it
There's
just a Joe Schmo just saying, oh, I want this team to win, so that's what I'm picking.
right, exactly. So I dive in. I really like to look at against the spread trends. There's always some good between the teams. There's always some good trends here and there that will guide you in the right direction. Obviously, they're not always right. You're going to lose a good amount. I've been on the winning side this year, so I'm very happy about it. But
nice.
Last couple of weeks have been very nice. Took a flyer and won a couple bucks on the Jaguars money line last week. So
wow, yeah, wow, really? You picked that?
Yeah, well, so I told myself that Indianapolis. I'm sure you heard. I don't know if you heard on ESPN or what they were talking. Indianapolis hasn't won the last 6 times they went down there to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna put a couple
too.
bucks on this because I don't want to be on the wrong side of this. I was like, if they can't win in Jacksonville, sometimes with teams, there's just teams that can't win certain places. So
yeah, that's I don't.
Took a flyer on that.
That was probably a good one because I wouldn't imagine a lot of people picking that one with Indy's playoff chances on the line, playoff berth on the line, and Jacksonville being a 2-14 team at the time. That was insane. I mean,
I was concerned about it because that Jacksonville team is, I would say, in shambles. I mean, with Urban Meyer and all that, and I was concerned, but paid off. So
yeah, me being a Pittsburgh fan, I was pretty concerned too. Going into it like, well, even if we win, there's just how in the world is Jacksonville going to beat Indianapolis? Because you look at it, Indianapolis is a pretty darn good team. With Jonathan Taylor, they were running over people left and right.
Yeah, they would have been a great team in the playoffs because they can run the ball. They have defense. Yeah. They just couldn't get by Jacksonville for whatever reason.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah. But okay, so you look at the spread and you take what they're supposed to win by, and you either bet over it or you bet against it.
Yeah. So I do that. If I really like a team, I'll take money line. I usually they say plus 100 on FanDuel. Plus 100 is even money. So you bet $5, you win $5. I usually don't go like minus 130 is like the threshold where you're basically, that means, let's say you bet $130 to win $100. So they call it the juice. You're paying way too much to try and win on that bet, which
we're trying to get even, almost even.
Yeah. So like after a little while, it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to take that because at minus whatever, it's not worth it. It's not worth paying that much money to see. Well, maybe they win, maybe they lose.
Yeah.
So because I think, for Indianapolis, for example, was like minus 620. So you would have had to bet $620 for you to win $100 for them to win.
Wow.
So that's way too much.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah, but it's interesting. It's fun. Like I told you before we started, it just gets me into the game, especially with the Ravens being out of the playoffs this year. Gets me interested in football and watching the games and making sure what I picked pans out. It's fun.
Yeah.
So I got a team in the race at least. So
okay, so you are hoping for somebody, even though your Ravens are out.
Yeah, well, so I will tell you this. After the Ravens Steelers game, Um, we got back over to PA line because can't gamble in Maryland yet. I did place a $20 bet on the Steelers to win the Super Bowl at
Oh,
plus 9,000.
oh,
So that was just a flyer. Big Ben's last ride. I've seen a lot of teams do it. Ravens did it with Ray Lewis. You guys did it with the bus. There's a lot of teams that rally behind that, and the Ravens were pretty big underdogs going in with Ray Lewis at the time too. So I've seen it done before. That locker room can rally behind somebody and really pull out wins that they shouldn't win.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, so that was one of the biggest things right after that Steelers Ravens game. You went on Twitter and you said something like that, and my ears perked up, and I wanted to hear more. So yeah, that the whole rallying behind somebody's last ride, yeah, that can be a lot of motivation. And I wanted to hear what you had to say about that. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to grab you for this episode. So you're feeling a Steelers a big surprise, not only this week but all the way to the Super Bowl, huh?
I think so. I think I don't know if you saw Big Ben came out and said that there was going to be, or he wasn't sure if they were going to win, something along those lines, and they were just going to go out and have fun. I think that's smoke and mirrors. I think he really wants this game, but
absolutely.
say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. When they underplay it a little bit, and he came out and said, we're definitely huge underdogs, not expecting much, and we're just gonna go out. We're gonna do our best. We're gonna throw the most we can at him and see what can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. You do hear stories of that a good bit. Like you said, with Bettis, with Ray Lewis, with I'm trying to think of some other examples recently.
Was Peyton Manning at Denver? Was that one? Did he retire after he won that one? I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but good chance it was. Yeah. I mean, these wily veterans that on their last leg, on their last ride, like you said, just seem to inspire, like you said, inspire the locker room enough enough to just absolutely lay everything that they can on the line. You have to imagine every team is out there doing as much as they can, but for whatever reason, it's just a little extra motivation with these guys that are like, all right, I'm done after this year. Let's do what we can. I don't know why that works, but maybe we should have some more of these young kids, even like 28 years old. Oh man, it's my last ride. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, right.
Even if you're like, in the back of your mind, I'm probably coming back next year, but let's just say it's my last ride. No, but yeah. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for sure. The Steelers this year, man, it's been an absolute roller coaster. The drama from game to game, the just, I don't even know. As a Steelers fan, it was insane. Like there's so many games you wanted to turn off at the very beginning. Like, I can't watch this. I can't watch this. And then they come back like so many times, second half, and just do so well. Like, why don't you do this at the beginning of the game?
Right.
And it was it was crazy. And it just game after game, you're sitting there just nervous, just like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Like, are we going to pull this out again? Are we going to? So it's been just one nerve-wracking season. So you know what? Why not continue it in the playoffs and just sit there being nervous and hopeful at the same time, in a playoff game.
But going into that last week, I mean, it's like the AFC North, man. All those teams, those games come down to the wire.
Yeah.
But before that last game, I saw a graphic that the Ravens were 11 points away from being the number one seed in the AFC. and 21 points away from being the number one draft pick.
Okay. So that's how close almost every one of their games are.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Matter of 30 points from number one seed to number one or to last place. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, the Steelers were the same way. I mean,
Yeah.
that Lions game, I was watching that game and I'm like, is somebody going to win? Somebody.
No.
Just all you got to do is score a field goal now.
I don't know what that was. That was one of those games in the season. You're like, can we just not talk about that one?
Right.
A tie, like seriously, and oh my god, and then you even think about the last week of the season in general. Like you had all the scenarios that had to take place for the Steelers to make it in. You had to win. You had to have and I guess just for us it was just the not tie. But you go in, you're like, okay, a tie, really?
Yeah.
Come on, they're not gonna tie the last game of the season. They're fighting for their lives too. Goes into overtime, and you're like, are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
So we're all sitting there at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday night, and we're just like, are these teams seriously doing this to us? Like, are they doing this?
So,
and in the back of our minds, we're all sitting there like, they're doing this on purpose. They have to be doing this on purpose.
yeah.
They're trying to tie so they both can make it in.
So that would have been my thought because, like you said, if they tie, they both get in. So what happens if they go into that overtime and they just like shake hands and say, you know what, we're just gonna kneel the ball down a couple times, run this clock out. We're both going to the playoffs. We'll see there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what's to stop them from doing that? Like
right? Like what would
why take the chance?
NFL stepped in. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh, it was insane. Like you're just sitting there, just as a Steelers fan, like, please, come on, somebody just win this game. This is bull crap. This is absolute bull crap. You're not winning this game. I'll tell you what though, it was a really good game, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was insane. So we're sitting there, and it goes to the very last second, very last second field goal to win it for Las Vegas. And you're just sitting there like, oh my god, how did we squeak in? How did we squeak in? For how bad it seemed at points of our season, but how are we in the playoffs? And then there's been other games we look great. And so you just never know. It's one of those teams. It's like, who are you gonna get? And it's just, I don't even know I'm sitting here. It's like, I don't even know what to expect. I'm gonna hope for the best and see what happens. But it's sometimes with sports that makes for the best. It makes for the best scenario. It's just, you have no idea. You just sitting there hopeful and watching a game just to love the game.
Yeah. I really think with these playoffs this year, it's really anybody's game. We've seen bad games from almost every team that's in the playoff. Yeah. We've seen, the NFC is stacked. They have really good teams the whole way down until, I guess, the Eagles. But
oops.
But
yeah,
it could go either way. A bunch of people on San Francisco.
Yep.
Against Dallas. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Could go anyway.
Let's dive in and see what we think then. Let's dive in and see what we think.
All right.
We'll start some predictions, talk about the matchups and see what we think. So let's start with the NFC since you were just talking about it. And so number one seed in the NFC are the Green Bay Packers. So they've got the bye. They don't have to worry about playing this first week. Green Bay,
they look good.
Yeah, they do. Other than that first game loss to or what's the first game? Early season loss.
I think it was
to the Steelers. Is like everybody was like, "Oh, Green Bay's gonna be a really good team going in this year," and we pull off. Wasn't a pretty convincing win for us too.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah. So everybody was like, "Oh, great, Packers are gonna stink now." Blah blah. And then they just went on a tear and just won almost every game the rest of the year. So,
their defense hasn't been healthy. I think they're getting Jair Alexander back at cornerback, and
Yep.
I mean he's a beast. And if they get that defense really rolling, I don't know who's going to go up to Lambeau and beat them.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
cold up there.
It's cold up there. Sure is. It sure is. Yeah. I mean, Lambeau's always been one of the toughest place to go into and win. Not only because of cold, it's just another one of those psychological stadiums. It's just the name just like instills fear in the opponent, in the opposing team. I don't know why. It's just crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Green Bay is our number one seed, so they're off. So let's look at the next matchups. We've got the number 2 Tampa Bay Bucks versus number 7 Philadelphia Eagles. I'll let you dive in first.
Okay. So I don't really like this game. So
least exciting matchup, I think. Yeah.
Tampa Bay is favored by 8.5 points. I really don't like that number. I think not that Tom Brady can't do it. They got a lot of stuff going on in their locker room. I mean, AB was cheerleading walking off the field earlier. So,
yep.
I really don't know what's going to happen there. If I were, let me see, if I were to bet on this game, I'm leaning towards the Eagles 8.5. I think Tampa Bay still wins, but I think they cover that 8.5. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think.
Okay.
Eagles are 10-1 against the spread in their last 11 playoff games as an underdog. Underdog in this matchup is 4-1 against the spread. So there's some trends there. They're leaning towards the Eagles.
Yeah.
Do I trust the Eagles? Not at all.
Yeah.
So there's 65% of the money's on Tampa Bay. I'd say Tampa Bay wins this game. I don't think they cover the 8.5.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a closer game than people think.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't put that past it. I would probably agree with that. I definitely think Tampa Bay wins. Like you said, the Eagles, just not much to get too excited about with them. Not too much to be hopeful for. But yeah, again, you never know in the playoffs. But with the weapons that Tampa Bay has, and of course Tom Brady always finds a way to make things happen. Yeah, I would definitely go with Tampa Bay in this matchup. Maybe like by 4 or something like that. Like 24-20 type thing.
Like the Eagles been great running the ball the last couple of weeks of the season, but I mean Tampa Bay's defensive line, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to rely on Jalen Hurts to get outside of the pocket and make something happen. So
yeah. That's a young quarterback you're putting a lot on.
Yeah.
It's always tough.
Yeah.
Teams always have really good schemes, especially against young quarterbacks in the playoffs. They bring something that they really haven't shown in the regular season a lot, and it throws young quarterbacks off a lot. So it'll be tough. Yeah, it'll be tough for Philly, I would imagine. Again, you never know, but definitely leaning pretty good toward Tampa Bay winning this one. So
yeah, they should move on.
Yep. Next matchup, we've got number 3 Dallas Cowboys versus number 6 San Francisco 49ers.
I really like Dallas. I've liked Dallas all year. 13-4 against the spread. They've won me a lot of money. They got a really good defense. Micah Parsons out of Harrisburg has been playing really well.
Is he out of Harrisburg?
Yeah. Yep. So
I didn't know that.
Played for Harrisburg High, I believe. So everybody is on San Francisco. San Francisco is getting 3. So that means Dallas is favored by 3. I think I'm still gonna have to ride with Dallas. A lot of people think the 49ers are gonna pull this off, but I really think Dallas wins this game. Um, they have a lot of weapons on offense still. And that defense has been looking real well. So I don't know. San Francisco could pull it out, but
Who was favored?
I'll ride with Dallas.
Who's
Dallas.
Dallas is favored? Okay. But
Dallas by a field goal.
Dallas by field goal, but a lot of people are going against it and saying San Francisco.
Yeah.
So I want San Francisco to win because I don't really care for Dallas. But I think looking at it, I think Dallas finally does something. They finally do something in the playoffs. They finally don't let their fan base down. They win a playoff game. I'll go with Dallas here. One of my reasons, San Francisco quarterback. I just still not sold on Jimmy G and
well, he just had something with his hand, right?
so
He's like playing hurt.
Yeah.
I think.
They've the last couple of weeks he's been questionable. They've been running the rookie, blanking on his name now, Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Yep. So they've been doing some Trey Lance. They've been putting him in hurt, and so it's been kind of a mess. It's been kind of a mess for San Francisco. Obviously, they have a good team still. They've got some weapons on offense. They've got a decent defense. San Francisco usually has a really good defense. But like you said, Dallas just has a lot of weapons on offense. They've got a real good defense. I'll give it to Dallas on this. I do think they win, as much as it kind of pains me to say. I don't really care for Dallas, but I'll give it to Dallas. I think they pull it off with a healthy Dak Prescott and a good defense, like we said. I'll give it to Dallas.
I think a lot of I think Mike McCarthy is going to be coaching for his job here too, because I think if he loses this game, I think Jerry Jones is going to say you're gone. So
what a mess that always is too. Always something with Jerry Jones is doing this, Jerry Jones is doing that. Oh, Dallas is losing. Dallas is losing another coach. Dallas is doing this. Dallas can't figure it out. America's team.
Yeah.
It's stupid as saying America's team. I don't get that. You go anywhere else other than Dallas, not America's team. Stupid.
Yeah.
That's stupid. So, all right. So we're both picking Dallas on that one. Next matchup, we've got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. So, my buddy up here is big Los Angeles Rams fan.
Okay.
I like the Rams. I like Stafford. Do I think Stafford can win a playoff game? I don't know.
I know.
Cliff Kingsbury's had the Rams number. I think if we go versus, so favored in this matchup is 8-2-1, which kind of debunks my theory here because the Rams are favored by 4. And then the road team is 5-1-1. So there's kind of some varying trends here. Cardinals are 1-3-1 in their last 5 meetings in Los Angeles. Well, that's contradictory. How's the road team 5-1-1 and the Cardinals are 1-3-1 in Los Angeles? This game's really hard for me to pick.
It's a good matchup. Division rivals, 4 versus 5.
Yes.
Matchup. Yeah. Teams that want 12-5 and 11-6.
There's so much talent on the Los Angeles team. I gotta go with the Rams. I think Hopkins being out for the Cardinals is going to hurt them. I don't know. Without Hopkins, taking at least attention away from Kirk and their other wide receivers. I don't know if You know, you can put Jalen Ramsey then on whoever's balling out that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll take the Rams. I'll ride with the talent that they have on that team and see if they can pull it off.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to go the opposite. I think I'm going to go with Arizona here. I love Matthew Stafford. I think he's a much better quarterback than people give him credit for. I feel bad going against him. I just don't. He's just one of those guys that just seems to just get so unlucky. Just
Yeah.
whatever it is, just I feel like it's going to be another one of those scenarios that he switches teams and gets on a great team and just somehow, not necessarily even his fault, just finds a way just to not win again. I think with Arizona, yeah, even though Hopkins is out, I like, their running game's good. The defense is good. I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, that was my first feeling is that Arizona's going to pull this one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
it's a tough matchup.
I will take a flyer here, and I will say that another Harrisburg native, Chase Edmonds, scores a touchdown in this game. At least I hope so. You know, but I am worried about the Rams. Like you said, Stafford just finds a way to lose some games, and I thought he was going to do that when they came to Baltimore. He had a really bad pick six. He threw another one up for grabs.
Yep.
It's just like sometimes, like, it's almost like his brain blanks, and he's like, "Which team am I throwing to again?"
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, he's a great dude. He really is. He's a good quarterback. He's just one of those guys that just seems to just not have the luck. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not rooting against the guy. I'm not saying he's bad or just can't play well. It's just one of those things that just, I don't know. He just spent too many. He spent too many years in Detroit that the bad luck's following him. Doesn't matter where he goes.
The curse of Detroit.
The curse of Detroit just followed him. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, in a way, I'm hoping that he has success. I'm hoping it in a way it goes his way. I don't know. I'm picking Arizona to win. Just the feeling. So, so you went LA, I went Arizona. Well, now switch over to the AFC. We'll start with the 4 versus 5 matchup in that side as well. So we're going to go Cincinnati versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, who snuck their way in, beating the Chargers in that ridiculous overtime, almost tie crap. So what do you got here?
I really like the Raiders here. I already have a money line bet on the Raiders. I'm going to take the Raiders. I still don't trust Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has put up big numbers. He put up big numbers against the Ravens. He put up big numbers twice against the Ravens. Jamar Chase is amazing. And this could just be because I'm a Ravens fan. I think that Las Vegas with Max Crosby, and that pass rush that they have in Las Vegas, I think they can pull it out. I think they can shock Cincy. Cincy hasn't won a playoff game in 31 years. Not saying much because Las Vegas hasn't won one in 19 years. So
yeah.
One of these teams is going to get their monkey off their back. Yeah. But
yep.
I'm going to ride with Las Vegas here. Hopefully they can go into Cincy and kick them out of the playoffs. As a Ravens fan, I would enjoy that, but
yeah. As a Steelers fan, I wouldn't hate that too. Or I wouldn't hate that either. But my gut feeling was leaning towards Cincinnati. My gut feelings leaning towards
Yeah.
Cincinnati. I do think they have a good team, a lot of weapons, good running game with Mixon. Like you said, Burrow lately has been absolutely tearing it up. Will I think he's going to have that same type of game in this? No, I don't think he's going to absolutely tear it up like he's been. But I think he can do enough. I think he is and going to be both a very good quarterback. I do think he's got the pedigree. I think he's got the just the swagger, if you will, to be a very solid quarterback in the league. I'm not so sure about their defense. Their defense is I think they have a fairly good run defense.
They have a fairly good pass rush too. I think Trey Hendrickson was in the top 5 in sacks this year. I don't know about the secondary. I know they give up a lot of yards to tight ends. So I like Waller in this matchup.
I was say Waller's been banged up there, right? Is he for sure going to be back?
Yeah, it sounds like he's healthy.
Okay.
So I mean, for my pick, I hope he
is. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
It should be good. It should be good. Just for once, I'm going with the Bengals. I think they probably. Go ahead.
I was just going to say this was probably the best matchup they could have drawn going into the playoffs to try and get their first win here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Again, 4 or 5 matchup, you just never know. It's always who knows. With the Raiders, with their issues they had throughout the year with their coach and everything, I don't know. I don't know if it's all there for them yet.
Yeah.
Jacobs is good, but I feel like he hasn't really done all that much, even since coming back from injury. Carr, good quarterback, but yeah.
He didn't do anything.
No. Carr is great, but do they really have that many weapons out on the outside? I don't know. They have pulled off some really close wins though. They were talking about on that overtime game, the last game of the year. How many late second we got a pooch.
Yeah.
But last second, game winning field goal for the wins. They've had a lot this year, so you just never know. So you went Raiders. I'm going Bengals. We'll see what happens there. Next matchup, we got the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. So another division matchup. Number 3 Bills, number 6 Patriots. Who do you got? What do you
got? This is tough. So I'll start off. My father-in-law is a very big Buffalo Bills fan.
Okay.
So we went out.
Watch what you say.
When the Ravens played the Bills in 2019, we went up there and it was great up there. Their fans are great. Went up there. A typical like fan back and forth, but they welcomed me in. They weren't obnoxious or anything like the Brown Stadium I went to the one time. But so the spread on this is 5 points. Buffalo is favored by 5 points. I don't like that number for Buffalo. If anything, I'm gonna bet the 5 points with New England and kind of like try and middle it, and hopefully Buffalo pulls it out. I like Buffalo to win. I like Josh Allen. I think actually at breakfast this morning we were talking. My father-in-law pulled up the weather. So winds don't look too bad. 5 miles an hour to 15 miles per hour.
How cold?
I think Josh Allen can still sling it.
Yeah. So that's funny because everybody's been talking about. I remember seeing an article or something. Somebody was saying if Buffalo really wants Josh Allen to have success over his career, they need to build him a dome. Just like what?
It's so I think he said it's like he was thinking about going up to this game, but it's going to be like negative 20 degrees at game time or something ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Okay.
So
Oh, well, that stinks.
yeah,
That's pretty cold to be outside, even for a football game. Oh my gosh. Wow.
yeah, it's cold.
That's cold. Yes, that's cold. That's cold. You can say that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see how that plays in then. Um, so Buffalo's favored by 5. I still think Buffalo. Yeah, I still think Buffalo wins it. I don't think New England has that much. Yeah. Jones is
It's kind of
done.
like, sorry, I was
No,
just
you
gonna say it's kind of like the 2019 Ravens. I think if New England gets behind, I don't think they have the firepower on offense to get back into the game.
yeah. Yeah. Jones has been good, but he hasn't really been asked to do that much. He has, yeah.
Right.
I think there was a game a couple weeks ago. He threw literally like 3 times or something crazy. It
Yeah,
was
he had one pass, and it was in Buffalo. One pass.
that's just mind boggling. I don't even, yeah.
Yeah,
So
good old.
he's a game manager. He's not a gunslinger. So like you said, if they fall behind, you got to imagine it's going to be tough. But of course, you got Belichick and always
Right.
finds a way to pull some kind of Houdini magic and pull stuff out. But yeah, Buffalo's a good team. A lot of people, the very beginning of the season picked Buffalo to be a really good team, and I believe even Super Bowl favorites at one point. So
Yeah,
they're no slack. They're no slouch. They're going to be a tough team for sure. Even in the negative 20-degree weather, I think Buffalo wins this game.
yeah, yeah. I think they got to pull it out. I mean, it's at home. You got the home crowd behind you, and you're going up against your rival, the Patriots, that have kicked you out of how many playoffs, kept you out of the playoffs, how many
Right.
years?
Right.
You know, you got to stick one to them at some point.
Yeah. 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 You're absolutely right. This is your chance. Get back for all those years. Yeah. So I'm sure they're
So,
gonna be chomping at the bit for this game, Buffalo.
yeah.
All right. Last matchup, the good one. Number 2 Kansas City Chiefs versus number 7 Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you got?
Okay. So after I placed my bet for them to win the Super Bowl, I read a stat that I didn't really like. So evidently, teams that are favored by more than 2 digits, which the Chiefs are 12.5 points, they cover that spread 9 out of 10 times in the last 10 games in wild card weekend that teams have been favored by 2 digits.
Okay.
This is tough. Like I said, I have that bet on Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Let's see where the trends are. Obviously, all the money. Actually, I'm wrong. 67% of the money is on Pittsburgh to cover the spread
Wow.
at 12.5.
I mean, that's
Pretty.
that's not saying too much. It's just saying they're gonna keep it a little bit closer than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so jeez. KC is 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games as home favorites. Between the two, Steelers are 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 meetings in Kansas City. So trends aren't looking good for the Steelers. But like I said, there's always that you got Big Ben on his last ride. It's really going to depend on, I mean, he's got a lot of young guys in that locker room. Are they going to rally around that? Are they going to pick him up and say, all right, let's go. This is your last ride. Let's make the most of it. We'll see. Have you heard anything on Juju? Is he playing?
I don't. Last I heard, well, I can't remember. Was it that? I think he was in practice. I think is all it was. And they said they have a couple of days to reinstate him or something. Check real quick, see if there's any update.
Yeah, because I knew they pulled him off of IR. I didn't know if there was any news if he was actually going to try and give it a go.
Yeah,
They're probably going to keep that close to the vest.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no, as far as I can tell, there's no real concrete answer. And then there's also the question, Harris. Harris a little banged up with his elbow, from that last
Oh,
week.
really?
Yeah. They're even talking, a little questionable with him. I would be absolutely stunned if he didn't play almost every snap still. But yeah, for Juju, I can't really see, like you said, too much concrete answer on that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's going to be pretty much a game time decision. He's missed 10 games at least.
Yeah.
How much? I mean, he was an extremely important part. He's still, he's an extremely important part of the team. And you definitely saw a big change losing him. But, missing that many games and still probably being banged up, still being questionable and this and that. How much can you really expect? Maybe it's just a psychological, impact. Oh, Juju's back, he's dressed. He might take a couple snaps. It's going to be a nice little boost to the team, but how much impact can he really make? You never know. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, obviously Kansas City was, like you said, 12 point favors. But do they have enough to stun the world? I hope. I mean, last time they met, Kansas City, it wasn't even close. Kansas City kind of, blew Pittsburgh out of the water. Just does Pittsburgh come back, for revenge? Did they, there's a lot of scenarios. You remain hopeful. I don't know. Trying to look at this from a unbiased point. You're like, how could the Steelers possibly pull this out? But it's the Steelers. They do stuff like this. They do. They do stuff like this. The Steelers love losing to teams that they're not supposed to lose to and winning against teams that they're supposed to get blown out. Yeah, it's just the way Pittsburgh teams are in general.
Right.
Okay. I wouldn't imagine it being a blowout. I would definitely think it being a close game. It's good. I think it's going to pay me, but it's just tough. It's so tough. I remain so hopeful, but I think Kansas City wins. I do.
Yeah. I think they do. The trends aren't leaning that way. I still might take the 12.5 with Pittsburgh. I hope they can keep it within a touchdown.
Yeah.
Kansas City has so much firepower on that offense.
Yeah. They finally they've put it together. They had a bad stretch, but they put it together, and then they just won like the last 7 games or something. So yeah. I mean, Kansas City was another one of those Super Bowl favorites from the beginning of the year. Then they had the bad stretch, but then they started winning again, and they were Super Bowl favorites, again. So I don't know. Like I said, as much as it pains me to say, I think Kansas City wins.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm wrong, but
I am surprised that's a Sunday night game. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, and then that's the last matchup, and then obviously we're left with Tennessee Titans. We're left Tennessee Titans are number 1 seed. Kind of a shock to me, to be honest. Haven't really heard too much from Tennessee. I don't know why. Just haven't had much hype or much coverage about them. And think about this though: if they're the number 1 seed and they didn't have Derrick Henry for how many weeks, and now they have him back,
right?
maybe more dangerous than people are giving him credit for.
Yeah. Yeah. I will. Vrabel is a hell of a coach in Tennessee.
Yeah,
I think he has that team heading in the right direction. And I mean, we saw with the last couple of weeks. I mean, they got the number one pick out of nowhere. Nobody
yeah,
expected that when Derrick Henry went down. We
right,
expected they were going to fall out of the playoffs for
right, absolutely.
sure. But they held it together. It'll be interesting to see what they can do down the stretch. Like I said, I think this AFC side of the bracket is wide open.
Yeah,
Anybody can win this year.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
So
And you love it. You love to see it as a sports fan, as a football fan. I love that. I love that kind of stuff where it's game to game. You just like you don't know what's gonna happen, and you're excited to see who's gonna take that. Each matchup they take the game. Maybe surprise you a little bit. Maybe blow a team out of the water that you didn't expect. You just never know, and that's what's great about sports.
yeah,
It's so unpredictable. As much as you look into your trends and your spreads and everything,
right.
you just never
Doesn't mean
know.
anything.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't know who's going to show up that day or who's going to make a game-changing play and turn the game upside down. It's awesome to see, and it makes
Yeah,
it exciting. That's why sports
yeah,
are amazing. You just never know.
yeah.
You just never
Never
know.
know.
Yep.
So
All right. Well, there's our predictions. We'll see.
yeah,
We'll see how we do. We'll see how we do.
see how they.
Come at. So there's one game on Monday, right?
Yeah, for some odd reason, I think that's the first time they've ever had a playoff game on Monday night.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't remember
but
who it is though.
it's Rams Cardinals. So
Okay.
that's gonna be a good one.
Okay.
And then we got the two today, Cincy, Vegas at 4:30 and New England Buffalo at 8:15. So
Okay. So two AFC games today.
yeah. Yep. And then the rest are Eagles Bucks at 1 o'clock, Dallas 49ers at 4:30, and the Steelers Kansas City game at 8:15.
Yeah.
So and I think the Dallas 49ers game is gonna be on Nickelodeon. So we'll
What?
get a yeah.
You serious?
Yeah. Yeah, they did it last year. So they actually have like stars from like Nickelodeon shows and they'll like commentate the game. I think I was introduced to it last year. This kid, Lex Luthor, I don't even know. No, Lex Lumpkin is his name.
I was gonna say Lex
He,
Luthor. That's a character from Batman or from Superman.
So anyway, he was down. He was on the field like talking to players, and I think the Saints won that game, and they actually slimed Cam Jordan. Is that it? The
Yeah.
defensive end for the Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was wild.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's not
It'll be
it's not only on Nickelodeon, right? They just have it additionally
no.
on. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. I think Nate Burleson announces the game, which I really like him. He's really good on TV. But it's like Nate Burleson and then a bunch of like, and the first down line was like slime last year.
Gosh.
It's wild.
Huh.
It's wild.
That's kind of cool.
I don't know how
that.
I don't know how they got it, but yeah.
Huh. Interesting. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Well,
yeah.
Obviously you can tell, guys, we're excited for some football, some playoff football. So like you said, yeah, starting today, 3 games on Sunday and one more on Monday. So we'll have most of the results in come release of this episode, and we'll see how our predictions pan out.
Yeah.
Enjoy your football, guys. Enjoy your football.
Yeah, I know I will.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Me too. All right, so that'll wrap up the football talk. Last but not least, of course, we do every episode of Bright Connections. We do our Bright Stories. So just jumping into stories that have happened that have impacted somebody's life, whether it be our guest or our guest has done something, something that has happened that it's just a very heartwarming story, something little or big that has just a nice act, a kind act that has brightened somebody's day, and we want to share it to inspire, to continue to show that there are so many good people out there doing good things, and just trying to share those stories and just bring some brightness to each and every day. So Nate, I believe you have one or two bright stories for us you would like to share.
Yeah. So I'll do this one first. I don't know if it's a bright story, but more of a thing that I'd like to see more people do. But so my dad and I are season ticket holders for the Ravens. We go to every game, and we sit in the 500 level. So we always get a bunch of like opposing fans sitting around us. And what my dad and I have started doing in 2019 is like usually we have some sit behind us or next to us, wherever. We always, make a point to like introduce ourselves, say, have a good game. And just like try to welcome them to the stadium, because there's so many, like, I don't know if you've seen this year, there's been so many like stories of people getting in fights at the games, and it's like, guys, it's just a football game.
Yeah,
that's all it really is. It's
yeah.
a football game.
Yeah.
So what my dad and I try to do is, we'll have like the normal like fan back and forth with them, but never like take it to a personal level or stuff like that. I think it just makes the game more enjoyable. Like I don't want people like coming to the game, even if they are Steelers fans, to like sit there and be like afraid to like cheer for their team.
Yeah,
that's what you're there to do.
Don't want them to be nervous that they're, like you said, they're going to get beat up or assaulted in any verbally or physically. Yeah.
Right. So our section's pretty good. I haven't seen, half the stuff that you see on videos and stuff after games. But I just think like if more people made a point of doing that, it'd be nicer to go to away games. And that's something I've always done. I've gone to away games, and in Cleveland, like I said,
not great.
I did not feel safe there at all. And I think it's just more of take that initiative. Like if you're going to a game and you got fans from opposing teams sitting around them, you don't have to introduce yourselves, but like just, I don't know, keep an eye out and make sure that they're not getting ragged by your fans, and make sure they have a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So, I that's a really good idea. Just you're building the respect for one another right off the bat. Yes, you don't have to, you don't have to cheer for their team. You don't have to, be silent and not cheer for your team or anything like that. But building that respect right off the bat and say, I respect you. I respect you like another team than me. I'm going to cheer for my team. You're going to cheer for your team. We're going to playfully, jaw at each other or whatever if you want, but it's out of respect. It's having the respect for one another and just recognizing that one, like you said, it's a game. It's a game. Don't need to lose your mind over. You don't need to get so upset with somebody else. It's a game. All in all, we're both human beings. Just building that respect right off the bat. That's awesome. I love that. Definitely could use more of that in not only in sporting events, but just in life, just building respect for one another. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. We, like I said, we started it probably in like 2019. We just bought the tickets in 2019, so we've been going to every game since then. But we went to a few games beforehand, and I just, like I said, like I've been in that situation in Cleveland, and I don't want anybody to feel like that when they come to our stadium.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we can have our differences, but we're still gonna respect each other in the end, and that's what it's about. That's such a worldly concept right now that we all could use, that everybody has their difference of opinion, everybody has their difference in values and morals and just differences in general. And that doesn't make one person, more or less deserving of respect or kindness or anything. It's just a simple
Yeah.
thing. You don't need to, they don't have to feel the same way that you do. They don't have to believe the same things that you do for you to respect them. It's just the way it is. Everybody has their differences, and if you can get in your mind that I can still respect you even though you have differences, be in a better place. Be in a better place.
Right.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot, Nate. I really do.
Awesome.
Yep.
So
do you have another story or?
I I could share. So this last week I was um, getting my master's all finished up. So went through all that, and my bosses have been very understanding of it, and I can't thank them enough. So we had a really hard close. It was year-end closed. So I do accounting and finance in the Medicare division of Aetna, and I had been working. I worked 8 o'clock till 8 o'clock on Monday or Tuesday, and then like 7 o'clock the next day. And I needed to do this competency test for my master's, 150 questions, and it was timed. So like, I wanted to get it done during the day when I was all together there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I messaged my boss and my old boss who I'd been working with all day, and they gave me the time to do it. They didn't have to. It literally took me from 9 o'clock in the morning till noon. They didn't require me to take PTO. It was, they stepped out of their box and let me do that because, they didn't have to. Like I said, they didn't have to do that, and it was really kind. It really helped me out. Really reduced my stress level at work, which was nice.
Yeah.
So
just understanding that this is important thing for you, something for betterment of yourself, and just that's awesome. Allowing you to take that time during the day. Especially if you try to do that at 8 o'clock at night, like you said, after a long day's work, that would have been tough. That would have been tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it took 3 hours. I was like, I can't do this after work. I'll be up till midnight.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, you know what? And like, I can tell that made a big impact on you. It's something that was really weighing on your mind, and for your bosses to allow you to do that, it goes a long way. It's a simple thing. It's just 3 hours out of a work day, but it helped you out a lot. It helped you out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you, there's bright stories everywhere, man. There's bright stories everywhere. just being understanding, just being cooperative and understanding. Like I said, just understanding of people and their situations. Just putting yourself in their shoes. It goes a long way. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You don't have anything else, right?
No, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Hey, I really like that though. Especially the football thing. Just that whole the whole aspect of just building a respect for one another right off the bat. That's huge. That's amazing. So I'm glad you had that to share. That's a great value to instill in yourself. And I hopefully people hearing that will get that in their mind too, that you can have differences, but you can still respect one another. So
right. Yeah. So
all righty.
This was awesome coming on here and talking with you.
Yeah.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. This is the first, like I said, this is the first time I've done it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah, it was good catching up. It was good talking football. I can tell you're very passionate about football. I love it. A lot of good insight, a lot of good stuff. I learned a lot about gambling. I'm still not going to gamble, but I learned a lot about it. But yeah, it's been great. Absolutely, Nate. I appreciate you joining
Yeah,
me. Like I said, it was great catching up. And maybe next time we'll do something else, and we'll do it again.
awesome.
So thanks.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, thanks again for joining.
Yeah, thank you for
Guy,
having me.
you bet. You bet. Guys, thank you. It's good to be back. Let's get 2022 started off right, with some bright stories, with some bright connections, with some just good times, laughs, camaraderie, just having a good time together. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. It's been a blast, and like I said, I'm excited for 2022. If you do not follow Bright Connections on social media, I'll be sure to go check it out. Help us out. Get some more content, more updates. So we're on Instagram, Bright Connections. We're on Twitter, and then obviously YouTube is the video version. So if you wouldn't mind going checking it out, following, subscribing, anything you want to do, that'd be great. And otherwise, we'll see you next episode, guys. Have a wonderful and bright week. Be sure to go do what you can do to brighten somebody else's day, little or small. Things go a long way. And the message of the week, I think, is building some respect for one another. The message of the week is understanding one another and their differences, and just respecting that. So be sure to go do that this week. Enjoy your week, guys. We'll see you next time. Take care.